AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You. Who? And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock, quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Head up to Columbia, South Carolina in a dozen minutes from right now. Bill Gunter will be here. He covers the Gamecocks. I'll go LSU, South Carolina baseball again here. About 13 minutes from right now. LSU spring football is over, and so we are going to take some time in the coming days and weeks to sort of unpack everything from spring, players, position groups, a lot of different angles from what we saw from the 15 practices. And going into spring, if there was a biggest question for me, and I think for many, outside of quarterback, because of the uncontrollable variable there with the injury to Sam Leavitt, the biggest position group question would have to be offensive line, because it was just a disaster a year ago. There is no debate. Offensive line was your worst position group a season ago. And it's really back-to-back years where you struggled. Now in 24, you had all the NFL guys, right? Campbell and Emory Jones and Dellinger and Frazier, the guys who had played a bunch. You had DJ Chester at center, and he was your weak link. And they were excellent in pass protection. They were just really bad in run blocking. And then you lose 4 of those guys, and you have a bunch of really talented young guys sort of stepping up. You go into the portal and get Braylon Moore. You get Josh Thompson, and think, well, it can't be any worse. Well, it was worse. Not only could they not pass protect, they still couldn't run block. And the staff came in, the new staff, and they had a decision to make, which was either you retain those guys that had played a lot, because you did have a large investment in the offensive line and guys who had played a good bit for you, with Chester and Tyree Adams and Ori Williams and Cohen Eccles, guys that you invested resources to recruit out of high school, and then in some cases 2 or 3 years of development and playing time at the college level, only to let them leave. And so this staff had to decide, do you want to retain these guys or you don't want to just start over? And they said, we're going to retain Braylon Moore. They prioritized him. But aside from that, start over. With one exception, and it was Weston Davis. And I remember because I was in Vegas around the New Year, and there was a report circulating out there that Weston Davis was going in the portal, and I had a conversation with his agent that was factually inaccurate, that he had talked to Lane Kiffin, the staff, and they had made the decision that he was returning to LSU. So, and it's an interesting one because just like DJ Chester in 24 was the unquestioned weak link of the offensive line, Weston Davis was your weak link a year ago. On a bad offensive line, he was the worst one. And I don't, that really is going to sting. And for a young player, and I don't mean to say it that way, I just don't know any other way to say it. However you want to look at it. I mean, his PFF grade was a 47. Remember, when we talk about PFF, it's sort of this sliding scale of 0 to 100. You know, the best numbers are like dark blue. That's like 100 or in the 90s, and then it kind of gets lighter blue, and then it's dark green, then a lighter green, then you get to like light orange, then it gets darker, like light orange, dark orange, red. So you look at a PFF chart and you look at where are like the oranges and reds. That's the really bad. Well, when you're talking about Weston Davis, they're everywhere. I mean, his overall grade was a 47. That's like orange. Very bad. His pass blocking grade was a 49. His run blocking grade was a 48. He had 9 penalties on the season. It just wasn't very good at all. But he played a lot. He played 699 snaps for you. He played in every game. So he played in every game for you. He was forgive me, he did not play in the Ole Miss game. That was the game where he got concussed in the pregame. I don't mean to laugh, but Jack Pyburn hit him and concussed him in the pregame, and then Carius Kern started at right tackle for that game. But aside from that, he played in every game for you. He played nearly 700 snaps. So he was available for the most part. He just wasn't very good. He had, let's see, against Clemson, his run blocking grade was in the 30s. Against Florida, his offensive grade and pass blocking grade were in the 30s. South Carolina and Vanderbilt, his pass blocking grade were in the 20s. He was bad. I mean, he was bad. And in the final 3 games of the season, it actually looked a little better. Against Western Kentucky, his grade was a 63. His pass blocking grade was a 73. Against Oklahoma on the road, he graded out a 65 with an 86 in pass protection. That was against arguably the best defense they faced all year. I mean, Oklahoma was a top 10 defense in the country, and Weston Davis had his best game of the season in pass protection. And then he goes to the bowl game and grades it a 71 with a 74 in pass protection, a 68 in run blocking. So the final 3 games, if you look at the final, let's start with Alabama, a 41, Arkansas 56, Western Kentucky 63, Oklahoma 65, Houston 71.9. Over the final 5, he bottomed out against Bama, and every week subsequent he got better. It stands to reason maybe in the last month of the season, including the bowl game, Weston Davis might have improved. And when Lane Kiffin was talking to reporters on Tuesday, he was asked specifically about Weston Davis. And while I think we can all acknowledge he is not a finished product, that improvement feels like it's continuing.
He's got to work on consistency, like a lot of young players, and, playing down to down. He's done some really good things, flashed at times. That's why we have him there. I have high expectations for him, but he's done some good things. But he's got a lot of work to do, to get to that consistent level that we need to play. Because, again, we talked about the quarterback playing well and how valuable that is to teams and wins, and you see it in the NFL. They'll have a premier quarterback, and he'll get hurt, and all of a sudden that coach and the rest of the team's not very good. Well, who protects them? The tackles. That's why they make a lot of money. So him playing well is very critical. You look at our blueprint from where he just came. We had 2 tackles play really, really well in pass protection all year long for the quarterback, and helps the quarterback play really well.
You heard him talk about blueprint evaluation. It's something that matters a lot to this staff, both the coaching staff and the front office of Billy Glasscock. So remember, just think of this. Even if you didn't get to watch a snap of spring, that's okay. I did, so I can give you some perspective of what I saw. But that doesn't even matter. Even if you didn't watch a snap of spring, just think of this with just critical thinking. You have a coaching staff that has this evaluation process that they are married to, right? They are really big into their evaluation. We've talked about it plenty since they came in, the portal, all of it. Their evaluation. It's a buzzword we've talked about so much. And it's not just 40 time and vertical leaps and heights and weights. It's how you are as a teammate, locker room, the whole thing. Then there's a financial component. They do their evaluation. And the whole room basically is gone. Chester and Adams and Ori Williams and Cohen Eccles and all those guys are all gone. But they kept him. Why? Clearly, there's something in their evaluation they like a lot about Weston Davis. And so getting him to that level is going to be integral, because when you look at that offensive line, you wouldn't spend a bunch of money on Jordan Seaton. And he's your plug-and-play left tackle. That's not even debatable. If he's upright, he's your left tackle. You brought Braylon Moore back. He's your starting center. You brought in Aluba from Maryland, 2-year starting right guard. In the Big Ten, he's your starting right guard. Those three are done, set, settled, not even a question. If Weston Davis continues that progression like we think he might, that's 4 of your 5 offensive line spots that are done. You're good, which leaves just left guard. And so it's Bo Bordelon and Devin Harper who are the two kind of rotating there. And we'll see how it all plays out and who may win that job. But for a group, a position group, that's effectively having a total overhaul this year, to come out of spring and to feel like you've got 4 of the 5 starting jobs on lock, it's pretty good. And, you know, a couple of weeks ago, it's about the midway point of spring, Lane Kiffin kind of heralded and lauded the progress that group as a whole had made.
Yeah, I think that offensively position has probably developed the best, through a couple weeks and, has played well together. And in my opinion, is dramatically improved from when we got here. So that's probably been the one bright spot as you re-looked at the film. Now, again, like I said, I have really high standards and expectations, and we're not tackling. So that obviously creates more yards because there's missed tackles within a game and you feel a little better. But I think the offensive line is coming along really well.
Remember, that was at the point in spring when the offense was, as Lane said, a disappointment, or it was discouraging. And through that is when he was lauding the offensive line as maybe coming along the most, progressing the most since they got there. Not there yet. They don't have to play a game, but maybe encouraged that the group that was the worst position group a year ago is on the right track. All right, we're brought about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com. Generac Industrial Generator Power. If you own a business, what happens when the power goes out? Arco. Not sure what to do? Arco. Should you wait until the storm comes? No, you should not. You should call Arco now, because when the storm's in the Gulf, it's too late. Call Arco Power Systems. Everything is turnkey. Sell, service, install, rent you that industrial Generac generator for your business. What type of business? Any type of business, commercial, industrial facility. They can help you with Generac Industrial Generator Power. It's Arco Power Systems. Learn more about your options today at Arco.com. ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. LSU and South Carolina, 3-game series scheduled to begin on Thursday out at Alec Box Stadium. We are keeping an eye on the sky with the inclement weather expected in Baton Rouge on Friday. So might we play a doubleheader on Saturday? We'll see. What we do know is the Gamecocks will be down here. Bill Gunter covers South Carolina. He'll be with us next to give us a thumbnail preview of the squad. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
If you want to feel your best, Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help you do that. Yes, they do ED treatments, peptide therapy, hormone replacement therapy. These are words that you've heard me say for a long time. But, men, if you want to feel your best, it basically comes down to this. You got to reach out, schedule that consultation, let them draw your blood labs, and give you an idea of what they can do to help you optimize your health, your physical fitness, your mental clarity, mood, how you sleep at night. You want to lower anxiety, burn muscle, build fat, burn fat, build muscle. They can help. Every single one of us, as we age, our bodies produce less of the hormones that contribute to how we feel. Let Goodwood safely and affordably supplement you to get you to healthy levels. And if you're already on HRT or peptides, remember, Goodwood has the lowest prices and never any contract. So it is worth a call to see if you can save. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalBR.com.
Here the last couple weeks in SEC play. So it's a team that hasn't given up, so they'll give it everything that they have. And, like some of our guys, I mean, this is the last baseball a lot of those guys are going to play. And sometimes when you get to the end of that, you get the best out of guys because there's nothing to lose, nothing to be afraid of, those kinds of things. So I expect it to be highly competitive is what I expect.
Man, when the schedule came out and we looked at South Carolina at LSU at the end of April, beginning of May, Paul Maneri's return, LSU, the defending national champs, Year 2 for South Carolina under Paul Mainieri, maybe a step forward. It has just not gone to plan for either of these two teams. But here we are. It's LSU, South Carolina. Bill Gunter does radio on 107.5 The Game up there in South Carolina. He's good enough to hang out with us here, talk a little bit about these Gamecocks. Hey, Bill, great to talk to you, man. How are you?
I'm great, and it's funny you mentioned that, and I know we'll get into it a little bit. The season that South Carolina's had, I totally forgot that storyline because of where we are at, where South Carolina is at, can't speak for LSU, about Paul Mainieri returning to Baton Rouge. And I can tell you this, I do not think if he is in Baton Rouge this weekend, he will be wearing garnet and black. He will be dressed in yellow and purple and firmly rooting the way things ended up here for LSU to run rule South Carolina's 3 straight nights.
Why didn't it work for Paul there in Columbia?
It's going to be a great question, and I jokingly said multiple times I look forward to the 30 for 30 on this. There's a lot of rumors and innuendo about things that were going on, a lot of things that have come out kind of on Twitter from players' parents, but let's be honest, they're players' parents. Yeah. There's always two sides to each story. But the truth be told is Paul Mainieri, there's a lot of people who just say the game had simply passed him by. And by that, I mean, there's parents who are saying he didn't allow home run celebrations. Last year they lost to Mississippi on Sunday in ugly fashion. He took them to the parking lot and didn't let them shower, and they had to ride home basically in their uniforms. They bused to Starkville, which is about 11 hours from Columbia. And he made them ride home. I mean, there's a lot of stories that you're like, man, if that's true, that's a bad look on Paul Mainieri. And again, as I said, there's always two sides to the story. So John Whittle up here, who covers baseball as well as anybody, put out an article last year after the season talking about some of the changes to the program, how they did weightlifting, how they did practices that were very negative on Paul Mainieri and how he was coaching. And so that took hold of a lot of people, and it just simply whatever it was, and I will find out. People are going to talk. Whatever it was not a match made in heaven like we thought it might have been when he was hired back in 2024.
Bill Gunter is our guest, covers the Gamecocks there, 107.5 The Game, does middays. So it's Monty Lee. How are things different under Coach Lee as an interim than they were under Paul Mainieri?
There does seem to be, I will say this, there does seem to be a fun and enjoyment element that you can see with the players. I hate to say it this way. Paul Mainieri here was 6-24 last year, 6-25 if you count the one SEC tournament game, and then started off 0-4 here, being run ruled twice, once at Florida and once by Arkansas. And the Arkansas game was his final game, and it was very ugly. So he was 6-29. On the flip side of that, you've already had Monty Lee being able to win more conference games than that in his brief period. And there does seem to be an enjoyment to the game. I kind of heard that clip. I guess that was Jay Johnson. I'm not familiar with his voice that you led in with. And he's talking about how South Carolina hasn't given up. And I will admit that's something we are watching in this day and age, regardless of it, baseball, basketball, football, with the transfer portal being the way it is. That is something we're watching very closely because it's easy for these kids. They don't know who their coach is going to be next year. This isn't who they signed up to play for. There's uncertainty for them. You know how it is. There's no way to beat around the bush. There's tampering involved in college sports, and South Carolina has some good players. They may already be looking at their future, but they haven't done that so far. They took 2 of 3 from Kentucky on last weekend, but then they turned around and lost to the Citadel Tuesday night 4-0 in a very ugly performance where they only had 3 hits. And it's been a constant situation of when is the straw that breaks the camel's back on these kids really caring about this team and starting to really focus on themselves and the future of their of themselves, with whether it's, hey, I'm going to stay at South Carolina regardless, or I need to see what else is available, or I need to think about the MLB draft and my health, and not focusing on the team. And I'll be honest, one of the biggest surprises to me, at least, and to a lot of people, is that had not already occurred. So I'll give them credit, whereas with Paul Mainieri, it seemed like kids had checked out way back at the beginning of or the end of March, I should say, the beginning of April.
Bill Gunter's with us, 107.5 The Game there in South Carolina. Let's talk about this weekend. The Gamecocks are at 2-11 in conference play. They're averaging about 4 runs a game in league play. Is there any threat offensively for this team?
There is, and we've talked a lot about that. There are flashes that this team has offensive firepower, and then you play the Citadel on Tuesday night, and you get 3 hits, and you strike out a lot. Talmadge Lecroy is batting just a hair below 300. He's at 293. Will Craddock is in his freshman season and is batting right around 270, and is a player that can make some things. I haven't seen a health update on Tyler Bach just yet, the center fielder. I know he missed Tuesday night and had an injury. KJ Scobie has been a good hitter, but has been a bit of a disappointment this season. He's batting 267. There have been guys, there have been moments, but there have also been moments where all of a sudden, Matt, you and I could go throw, and you're almost pretty certain that they couldn't hit us. So,
I gotta get it 60 feet 6 inches first, dog. My shoulder probably won't cooperate at 43 years old.
Listen, I'll be 44 on Sunday. So there have been moments where you're like, oh, okay, I see it. And I will say those moments have been few and far between, but there have been moments where you're like, no, okay, I see what they thought. And then there's a lot more moments, unfortunately, like Tuesday night, where you're playing a lower level team and you're held to 3 hits and you just look flat. You just look dead. Yeah. And you're like, man, what did you guys spend NIL money on? Clearly not hitters. So can they be a threat? Yes. More than likely, you feel good with your pitching staff, though, going against the Gamecocks.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Gamecocks pitching staff then. Game 3 is going to be a TBA. LSU is probably going to be without Case and Evans. We'll see. But it'll be Schmidt and Paz, games 1 and 2 for the Tigers. What about for South Carolina?
Amp Phillips will throw tomorrow night. He's 3-5 on the season. He did, I can't remember which particular week it was, have a SEC Player of the Week in which he pitched a fantastic game on Friday night. He's been there. 3-5 sounds bad, but Amp Phillips has really been better in conference, and he's a guy that you kind of feel comfortable with going out there. I think he gives you a chance. Saturday's going to be Brandon Stone. Brandon Stone's record is better. He's 5-2 on the season. He started 7 games. Both pitchers, by the way, have thrown 55 innings. But Brandon Stone, to me, against Mississippi State a couple weeks ago, just gave up home run after home run. It was batting practice out there. I think they got down 4-0. They rallied and couldn't pull it off. But he's a guy that goes out there and look by the second or third inning, or might even be by the end of the first, you're going to be like, all right, he's on tonight. This is going to be a contest. Or pretty quickly you're going to be like, he doesn't have it, and we got a chance to put up a large number in an inning and get him. Because I'll be honest, behind him, the other 7 guys, obviously not counting the catcher, the other 7 guys, they're prone to make a mistake that makes you wonder if they ever played Little League. You never know what South Carolina is prone to make mistakes that you just scratch your head and be like, have these guys been coached at all, or do they just show up like a church league softball team, drink a few beers before the game, and then play? And so he's had some unfortunate issues with errors and bad throws. So it'll be interesting. I think by the 3rd inning, you can look and see what team you're facing on that particular day.
Regrettably, part of that actually sounds familiar. That's how you have 2 teams. That's how, by the way, LSU has won 1 fewer game in the league than South Carolina has this year, for context. If there is a blueprint for the Gamecocks, if they leave Baton Rouge with a series win, look, they did sweep Missouri on the road, which is got to be the highlight so far, is a road series sweep in conference for the Gamecocks. What's the blueprint for Monty Lee's squad to come into Baton Rouge, try to win a series?
I mean, it starts with pitching. You've got to get, right now, the 3rd starter is an absolute mess. Josh Gunter has thrown some really good games, but he can be an absolute disaster. They tried to run him out there on Tuesday night, and it didn't go well. Riley Goodman was supposed to be a young player that they thought could count on as a weekend starter. He's been knocked all over the park by Little League teams, SEC teams, and midweek teams. So I'll be honest, the formula starts with Amp Phillips giving you everything you need on Friday night and picking up a victory, and then Brandon Stone performing well on Saturday, and then then you go, okay, well, what can we get off of the LSU pitchers? What can we get off of the LSU pitchers? Is the lineup here to hit this week, or are they here to watch strikes go by and be more passive in their approach? So we're still trying to learn. I've asked the question. Monty Lee's been the head coach for roughly 40 days. Can he impart his will and his coaching philosophy when he was a head coach at College of Charleston and Clemson and was successful? Not successful enough for Clemson, but was successful. Is 40 days enough? I've asked a lot of former players that in our interviews. Is 40 days enough to impart your will and your coaching philosophy against a coach in Paul Maneri, who coached a lot of these guys for a year and coached them for 80 games? Maneri was 40-40. How much can you change? And it feels like they are in transition, and that when it becomes fight or flight, they turn to go back to the coach's philosophies and the mistakes that are made who coached them for 80 games. So, are you transitioning to the Monty Lee style? Are you getting the pitching that you need on Friday and Saturday to give you an opportunity? And then are the bats alive just enough to get to 4 or 5 runs?
Bill Gunter, Tigers and Gamecocks this weekend. Hey, man, you going to be in Tampa for SEC Media Days?
That is the plan. That is, I've got a little health issue going on, but as I sit here on April 30th, that is the plan to come down. I got a buddy that lives down there who's actually I've been making fun of him. He's a huge Lightning fan. So I was blowing his phone up last night with congratulation text after Montreal. So you know how it works, Matt. Anytime you got a buddy you can stay with and save the radio station money, they'll send you wherever you want to go.
Hey, bro, I'm the program director here now. We spend whatever the hell I want to spend, dog. I got news.
All right, no, you don't know about that anymore.
We're going, bro. We're going, and I'm making the decisions. We're flying, and we are staying in the media hotel, and all else be damned, brother. That's what it's gonna be. So,
well, I can promise you this: your buddy Jay Phillips will be down there. He knows how to finagle the system. I hadn't been.
Jay may hitchhike, bro.
Way, man.
Jay may hitchhike and just like I don't know, find what do you call them? Like was it a brothel, a place where you just like stay with 15 other people? He may stay at one of those places. So
I'm not going to go deep with you on it. It's not a brothel. Don't use that word.
What's the word? Phillips. What's the word I'm thinking of?
I think you're thinking of like the European hostel.
A hostel. The brothel is where prostitutes are. It's a hostel is what I'm thinking of.
I knew, said it, not me. But
Bill,
yes,
there's a 50-50 chance in my brain I knew that was going to go wrong when I said it. But hostel is what I was looking for, not brothel. But who knows? Jay may hitchhike away to a brothel. If they'll let him stay cheap, he may do it. All right.
Listen, now I'll say this real quick on Jay. I had to drive Jay to and from about 4 or 5 different media days. That boy ain't staying in a brothel. I can promise you that. That ain't happening.
I'm not gonna. You know what? I'm not gonna say the thing that just came into my brain. All right, Bill. We appreciate the time. Thanks, man.
Glad to do it, buddy.
All right, see you, man. That's Bill Gunter at AFR. We're brought to our First South Farm Credit. I'm thinking. In my brain, I was saying, I'm like, I know this is the wrong word, but I can't remember the right word. I was like, screw it, I'm saying it anyway. And so I basically just said, yeah, Jay Phillips is staying at a whorehouse. Is basically what I said. That's what I said. But he's not. Jay's a good dude.
No. He's not going to do that.
What? No, he's
a
not
hostel. Yeah, a hostel maybe. Yeah,
hostel, not a brothel.
Yeah,
that's it. That's what I was looking for. It was hostel, not brothel. But Jay's like a Jay Phillips has been on the show a bunch, does radio in South Carolina. He's like a self-described hippie. Like he goes all over the country watching Widespread Panic and all that sort of stuff. Right? He's a hippie. So Jay could just hitchhike just down to Tampa. He might do it.
Widespread Panic. Does he know Mincy? Widespread Panic? Yeah, they probably just hung out at the concert. Probably. Yeah, probably.
First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com. I tell you about the patronage refund every year. Patronage refund effectively lowers your cost of borrowing. At First South Farm Credit, every year they give back to their member borrowers. This year, $23.2 million back in the patronage refund. That's real dollars, y'all. it effectively lowers your cost of borrowing. So if you're at 6%, you get your patronage refund. It's almost like being at 5%. They're the best. They've been around for more than 100 years, and they have successfully issued that patronage refund every year for more than 3 decades now. FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com. If you are thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Log on to learn more. Connect with a local lender at FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com. All right, y'all, it's AFR. Jimmy is not here for Otterlocks. The picks are on the website, but I will give them to you in about a dozen minutes from right now. Jimmy has something going on, he said. I forgot what it was. He did a show today, and then he was leaving to go to something.
Yeah, for the Derby.
Yeah, some Derby thing. Maybe he's going to the Derby.
That'd be cool.
I don't think he is.
Derby and Del Mar in 1 year? Woo!
Loves the ponies.
We may never get him back.
My guy loves the ponies. All right, it's AFR.
After further review.
Might need to hire a new midday guy. Maybe I could call Glow Resources. They help hire everything else. GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions, Glow Resources, glowresources.com. Jareth Knockan and the team at Glow Resources, they do awesome work. They are number one in workforce and staffing in Louisiana. That is not my opinion. That's a scientific fact. Jareth Knockan and the gang, man, they're awesome. Highly recommend, whether you're looking to fill skilled blue-collar labor positions or if it's the professional placement division to help you find any type of office job from office assistants up to the C-suite and everything in between, you want Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com. There's Jareth right there. glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions. GLO, glowresources.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Oh, back to the NCAA tournament. We got another guy. It's Brad A. on the text line. So effectively, they're expanding the NCAA tournament. They're adding 8 more teams, so they're going to add like an additional 8 play-in games. People are melting because you're all lemmings. You're part of an echo chamber, and you think like that's what you're supposed to say, and so you all just say and repeat the same thing that the people who tell you what to say, which is, oh, it's terrible. They're watering down the tournament. They're ruining it, blah, blah, blah. And the point that I made over and over, it's easy to explain why they're doing this. They're adding 8 more TV windows that they can sell. It's not going to ruin the tournament. You said the same thing when they added the play-in. The play-in hasn't ruined the tournament. You all still watch the tournament. It still makes a lot of money. If you don't want to watch more play-in games, don't watch more play-in games. It doesn't matter. And so Brad A. said, being able to explain expansion doesn't make it the right decision. You're adding directional U games to the tournament, which last I checked, you hated. Brad, I do hate directional U games. In football, you dork. I shouldn't have called Brad a dork. He's probably a very nice guy. In football, which are nothing but money grabs, and we pretend like they matter where we have an inequitable schedule. There's a big difference in basketball when you play a large enough schedule of a sample size and you have a large enough tournament to where you have access. You can play really good non-conference games, lose, and it doesn't crush you. So people go schedule good non-conference games. You have a large enough tournament to where it works itself out. You don't have that in football, Brad. That's the difference. Pay attention. Get the earwax out. Brad. Maybe your name's Chad. Why are you so mad? Again, lemming. Just saying and echoing and parroting what he thinks he's supposed to say. What nobody wants to acknowledge is the reason they're doing this now isn't greed. That's why greed is what has driven every decision for the last 100 years. Greed is no longer driving these decisions. Survival is. Did you see what happened this week at the University of Arkansas? They're shutting down their men's and women's tennis programs. They ain't going to be the last to do it. I'm not just picking on tennis. I'm talking about non-revenue sports. Why? Because you added I've been saying this how many times do I have to say this? You added a $20 million line item to everybody's budget. You got to pay the players now. So you can't just go grab $20 million. You either cut $20 million in expenses or find $20 million in new revenue. And the truth is, it's probably going to be a little bit of both. You're going to cut certain places and you're going to find new revenue. What's the easiest way to find new revenue? Football, men's basketball TV contracts. Easiest way to do it. So what are they doing? Finding new revenue. So, Brad, I think that was his name. Brad, yes.
That was his name.
So don't stop me. Don't step on me. I'm on a roll. So, Brad, let me ask you, Brad, would you rather have 8 more basketball games you can watch on a Tuesday? Or cut the swimming and diving program altogether? What would you rather, Brad? The option. Nobody's force-feeding anything down your throat, Brad. The option to watch 8 more basketball games? Or let's get rid of men's and women's golf. Or track and field. Brad? That means the right decision. Yeah, it does. It sure as heck does. They're winners. They can talk to you however they want. Brad? It's fascinating to me how people don't understand this. But I get it. I've done this job long enough. I've sat in this chair. I've interacted with you all every day at scale for 16 years doing this job. Like, I know how you think. This is what I do. Like, you consume this casually, recreationally, when you can. And I love it because you have lives. You have families and you have lives and you have jobs and you have a lot going on in your life. This is what I do. This is my job. This is what I do every day. And so every day of my life for 2 decades, I produce content at scale for this audience. I know what you all think before you even think it. It's like it's my job to do that. I have to know what to talk about to know what's going to interest you. That's why I don't talk about the golf team. With respect to the golf team, I'm sure they work very hard. That's not going to move the needle. But I know what you all think. People are lemmings. They just follow. They regurgitate the same crap that they believe they're supposed to say. Oh, it's just greed. They shouldn't expand the tournament. It's perfect at 68. Well, you said it was perfect at 64, and 20 years ago they said it was perfect at 32, whatever the number was before. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. It's the same people that said the 14 playoff was going to ruin college football and devalue the regular season, and the 12-team playoff was going to ruin college football and devalue the regular season. You know what happens? This year in college football, TV ratings were up across the board. TV contracts keep getting higher dollar. It's not ruining anything. It's making a better product. You're giving people games they want to see. You're giving more people access, playing more meaningful games later into the season, having an actual playoff instead of just letting a computer decide which 2 teams that think should play for a championship, and you have undefeated teams not getting a chance to compete. Brad? Lemming. Hey, man, it's not risky. You can explain it's the right decision. Great, Brad. Let's get rid of LSU women's basketball. That's the answer, right? They lose $8 million a year. Let's get rid of them so we don't have to have, we can stay at 68 for the tournament. That's what we want, right, Brad? I need a sip of Evermore. It's delicious and refreshing. It's a great way to stay hydrated, and it's healthy, and it's a Louisiana product. Maybe all the tournament teams should drink Evermore. All 76 of them. Brad A. I wasn't calling him an A. Don't think that was cursing. That's just what he said his last name was on there, on the text line. Brad A. Evamore. EVAMOR. Evamore.com. All right, it's after further review. We got to cook. Man, I wanted to talk about Martin Emerson there. Brad just derailed me. Or was it Chad? I don't remember.
It was Brad.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Brad A.
How do you know? You're not looking at the phone.
Because that was what you said the very first time.
What if I didn't say it right? Intentionally, to throw you off.
Well, then I don't know, man. But I don't think that you did.
Maybe his name's Thad.
Moss?
Or Rad.
Bring back Rad. Good word, man.
I know a guy named Rad.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is he rad?
Saw him last week. Great dude. Yeah.
Cool, man. Rad is rad.
Say it far.
AFR.
I had lunch today at Tallulah inside of Renaissance Baton Rouge. They are unveiling new menu items. Actually, the new menu is about 2 weeks old, but it's sort of been a slow launch as they perfect everything. And I'm here to tell you, they rolled out about 4 different courses. I mean, I probably tried 8 different, no, it had to be more than 8 different things. Everything from lobster mac and cheese to these lamb lollipops and this glazed salmon and this half a chicken with gravy on top that could feed 50. I'm going to tell y'all, I say it all the time. Tallulah is not a hotel restaurant. This is a casual, upscale dining experience inside of Renaissance Baton Rouge, a great place for dinner any night of the week, a great business lunch. Pop on in and check out the new menu at Tallulah inside of Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Let me know when we're back.
Yeah, you're back on air right now, live.
No. When we go live on the radio.
That's
and on
right
YouTube
now.
And WBTR as well.
Currently, in the present.
Right now?
Right now.
This is all live.
All live.
I don't believe you. But for real, like.
Yeah. Go. You're good, man.
Yeah, Jimmy's not here.
Nope.
He went to something. But Jimmy had a good night last night.
Okay.
So the Otter was 3 for 4. So the Magic and the points hit. Had the Rockets plus 3.5. They were an outright winner. The Diamondbacks as an underdog, road dog on the money line, 6-2, plus $1.14. The lone loss, we laid a big number with the Pirates, minus $1.43. Final out of the game, that far from being a game-winning home run.
Oh, man.
We were that far. That far from 4-0 night.
Been a good week, though, for the Otter, man.
Has been a good week for the Otter.
Yeah.
We needed it.
Yeah, we did. He was on a little bit of a rough patch there.
NGL. We needed it. I'll give you these picks in a second. Remember, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Mother's Day's coming up, y'all. 2 things you got to know. Mother's Day's coming up. Graduation season. Thrill mom with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com. Graduation season. Got a graduate on your list. Elegant pearls are always a beautiful, timeless option. Beautiful watches, other timepieces, pens and writing utensils. Great graduation gifts. And Mother's Day, 9 locations, and you can always shop online at lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Thrill mom or that graduate with a gift from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, 3 games tonight, all on the hardwood. You can get picks always free. over at louisianasports.net. Here you go. The Otter likes the Hawks plus, well, actually, it was plus 1.5. Now it's plus 3.5. There's been some line movement, so I don't know the reason for the line movement, but you know what they say. Don't be a moron.
Bet more on it.
Atta babe. Celtics laying 5.5. That's moved as well. It's now 6.5. Played anyway. And then Minnesota plus 6.5. That line holding steady. Of course, Naz Reid will play in that game. Should have stayed. All right, I'll do it for us here. Shout out, as always, to Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing, DecisionCriticalBR.com. Use Apply. Thanks. See you tomorrow 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Y'all, they still got crawfish. They still got crawfish over at Rouse's. Sounds like the season probably has about another month. I was asking someone yesterday, a crawfish fisherman yesterday, about the season. Like probably looking like early June is when it'll wrap and we'll sort of transition into crabs. But still get crawfish right now. Get them while you can. Season will be gone, and then you got to wait another 9 months till you get them again. 8 months. Rouses.com is the website. You can find out more about all the weekly ads that they have going on right now, all the specials they have going on. You just pop into any Rouse's location, grab your hot boiled crawfish in store at all 76 Rouse's locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach and points in between. Something to wash them down as well. They got that. Rouse's, this feels like home.